Hey everybody, you're watching another episode of Winston Walks. My name is Winston. I take walks. I'm here in Yorkville in downtown Toronto on a beautiful, beautiful
Yo, for
weekend
real, he was giving
afternoon.
me a table on my mom's.
And we're here just, we're here just walking through. Figure we'd show you some beautiful Toronto area. Things are kind of thriving down here. Talk a little economics today. I've been trying to add that into my walks since, since right now, obviously, the issue of the day, well, probably of the, everybody obviously worries about their economics, but something to think about. Obviously, my background's in economics, and I lived here all my life, and maybe I can add a little bit of a thought to your. Anyways, whole point is trying to help. But anyways, yeah. So we're here in Yorkville. You can see a lot of people are here. The restaurants are packed. From what you can see here, probably the economy's looking pretty good, right? You go to most of these places right now, can't get a seat. Or the places are close to being full. No closer? It's a nice stop, eh? Yeah, careful. Yeah, don't assume that folks are going to stop, because they will not. Wow, look at those dogs, they're huge. I know. And you got one small guy over there. But, look at the economy. The economy is weak overall in Canada and in Toronto as well. But there is really a bifurcation between the rich and the poor. So as you can see, assets are going up. And if you own assets, you're going to get richer, right? This is a beautiful, I don't know what you call this thing, water drop thing.
Waterfall.
Yeah, mini one, right? But oh, that's cool. This is cool. It's too bad there'll be days here where there's live music, and I'd actually try to stream here, but no live music today. So sorry about that. But you notice here, even look at the traffic here is ridiculous. But what is interesting is that with Canada, even though the economy is slow, youth unemployment, I think, is 20% right now, because it's summer and the youth cannot get jobs. Even summer jobs, part-time jobs. The traditional ones like McDonald's, Tim Hortons. What's a Starbucks was another one. Even working like at a Walmart, right? People used to work at Walmart's part-time, things like that. You can't get it anymore. Not getting political, but obviously we've got a fourth Liberal government term. They let in a lot of immigrants in previously, and it's not the immigrants' fault, but there are not enough jobs in this economy to support all the people that came in. Thus, right now, the youth are going to be the ones right now that are being sacrificed on that, right? So, again, when you look around here, it's packed. It's it's packed. It's busy. You would not think that we're in the middle of a our GDP reported recently was just barely positive. Probably masked. We're probably in a recession. You want to walk out? You want to walk to Bloor? Okay. Okay, we want to walk to Bloor Street. But what is interesting is that even with the weak economy, our inflation rates items, important things like food, energy's even held up. But those things, well, obviously you've got a tariff for. Those things, prices are still actually high, and that affects the folks that we just saw right now. In that area, like it'll affect them, yes, but not as much as probably someone who's working in the common 9 to 5, whose rent down here is probably what, $2,300? More. Okay, a lot down here, right? The rent is ridiculous in downtown Toronto, but you're not getting very far ahead. So I mean, if you notice that, if you think about it, right? We have a situation where we don't have much growth in the economy, right? With trade, with come across Donald Trump's tariff war, where it's unpredictable because some days he's raising things and some days he's not. Supposedly, Carney's going to meet with him and they're going to try to hammer things out. Trump nowadays, I don't know, maybe he's just having a bad day or whatever. Him and Elon are not exactly getting along really well anymore. So we're here on Bloor. This is Bloor, and that's Bay Street up right up there. That's the Italy up there. But we have a situation where we've got rising inflation, or inflation's hanging around definitely, and stagnant growth. Not a good combination. Not a good combination. Thus, a lot of Canadians are waiting for the Bank of Canada to cut interest rates. Thinking that that's gonna lower their mortgage payments, etc. Even though fixed rate mortgages are based more on the bond market, and the bond market has actually been the rates have been actually moving up. Look at the U.S. economy. They actually had a good jobs report as of this recording a few days ago, and they what happens there? Their bonds, they affects everybody, including Canada. So just keep that in mind, right? So if you're a Canadian right now who's just holding on, I don't know if you're praying for rates to drop. A lot of Canadians are going to be refinancing soon. I know everyone says, a lot of the realtors say to hold on, but holding on is going to be a tough thing to do. All right, so holding on is going to be very tough. All right, sorry folks, we're just crossing this. There's the two doggies there. They're talking about July. I think I was watching another, a lot of the realtor YouTubers. I do watch some of them, the Canadian ones, and they're talking about July being a rate cut, and it's in the bond market. It's actually not calculating well out to be, so don't count that. And also, frankly, if they start cutting rates recklessly, long-term bond rates. So that's how your mortgage, your fixed rate mortgage, gets generated. Those interest rates will actually go up. So that's not good. So just think about it that way. If they're irresponsible, they could cause severe problems. If you look in the 1970s and the 1980s, the interest rates then actually spiked, and the reason why is because the Fed then actually they cut rates too early, right? And it was Paul Volcker who got the credit for killing the battle with inflation. But if you look in history, he actually did. He made a tactical error early on, where he started cutting too early, and then inflation came back, and it was even harder to contain that second round. And Jay Powell in the States, and Tiff Macklin in Canada, and probably everyone else around the world is very well aware of that fact, because they watch commodity prices. And you watch commodity prices, folks, you just go to your local, oh, by the way, this is Bay Street as well. you go to your local grocer, right? You're gonna notice that you're still paying a lot more. And there's no deflation, there's no reduction in prices, obviously, but prices are still going up. They're gradually going up. You go to a restaurant, it's not cheap, right? Today we paid basically paid $60 for 2 salads today, right? Which is very expensive, right? But granted, we're in downtown Toronto, so we understand that. But at the same time, also, you have to own assets, right? Whether it be physical assets. Granted, the problem with physical assets is it's linked with debt. I'm talking more about real estate, right? If you have other things like you have gold, or you have silver, or you have a financial portfolio, where it's going to generate you income, or it's going to grow you. It's going to grow you. Going to grow your net worth by at least inflation, right? You're more guarded towards that, right? So. We definitely, I'd say look at that, right? So that's why kids can't get jobs now too, and it's bad because if you think about it, when I was a kid, I used to have jobs where, I'd screw up big time, right? And I learned my lesson, obviously. Can't do that, when I actually get a quote-unquote real job, right? I'm sure a lot of you folks out there have that type of story. I had a friend of mine who he used to work at McDonald's. And I remember he was telling me, when he just had it with them, he just didn't show up, and it screwed over that McDonald's. Want to go a little left before you go?
Can we sit down here?
Oh, you want to sit down? Yeah, you're tired, eh? Yeah. You want to sit down for a bit, folks? I'll tell you this story here. This is Bay and Charles. And he didn't open it, so yeah, he screwed over that McDonald's, and then they basically, he got fired, right? So, but those valuable job lessons, so you don't want to do that when your first real job, right? Because that won't show up on the McDonald's job, you just don't put it on your resume, let's be honest, right? You're not going to get a reference from that, right? But that's the problem right now. There is no jobs for young Canadians. Even graduates now, I've noticed where I know we give them a hard time. We talk about them being lazy, the avocado toast generation, etc. But and there is a part of that where they are kind of lazy. It is easier, let's be honest now, to send, through resumes. I used to have to, either walk them or fax them, right? And I used to go in anyways and follow up or call. And, really now with the way the internet is revolutionized things, there's good things, there's bad things. The problem is now, if you're job seeking, you just, shoot in your resume. You're 1 in 10,000 that do the same thing. And if you don't follow up, okay, if you don't use keywords, right, you're not going to get even noticed amongst the first round, right? So, I mean, if you have somebody out there, maybe a child or a niece or a nephew or grandchild or somebody, or even a friend who's frustrated, let them know. Like, a lot of people right now are frustrated. They just got to keep going at it. Maybe do things to differentiate yourself. Follow up, maybe if there's a specific job, if you can go online, find that hiring manager's name, maybe try to send them an email, even try to call them or leave a message. I know it seems intrusive, but in a way, that's what you got to do. A strange story is that when I was a kid, there was a diner that I applied to, and I was having no luck with fast food joints. I remember one time I used to time them 28 days. Okay, I used to print out a whole bunch of resumes, physical resumes, and what I would do is I would go to each spot every other 28th day because they would tell me they threw out the old resume, and I'd hand in a new one, right? I wasn't getting any calls, right? But this one time, this one diner I went to, and I remember, I didn't know at the time, but he was the general manager. I asked who the manager was. He came up, and I just said, I applied last month, and I just wanted to see if you folks had any openings. I was, checking this month, right? Because I know you get rid of resumes every 30 days, right? He looked at me. He asked my name. He asked me if I have a copy of my resume and cover letter, which I did. I handed it to him. Remember, he looked at it, and then he said to me, "You know what?" He goes, "Give me a couple minutes," and then I came back, and he asked me to sit down if I had 5 minutes to talk with him, and I ended up getting the job. And he started me as a host to try me out, but I remember I got to know him well, right, over the years, because I worked there for a few years, got a lot of valuable work experience there. I had some very wacky coworkers. Take at a restaurant, you meet a lot of different personalities, people who work at different areas. You learn, different disciplines, how to work around people. But anyways, I was talking to my manager, and he told me the reason why he hired me is because I came back. He said, I could tell you wanted it, right? And I really did. I just wanted a summer job. I wanted to earn some money, but I wanted to work, right? And so that's kind of the advice I'd like to give people out there. I know it's hard, even harder now probably, because you have people harping on you, telling you that you're lazy, and sometimes some people are, but some people aren't, right? Some people it's just a matter of frustration, and really that with that job at the restaurant, the diner. I remember the person who managed me, he had spent some time in the military, and he was very strict in terms of the things he wanted to do things, and I absorbed that, and I really appreciated that. Originally you kind of think maybe originally like, oh, this guy's hard on me, right? But he wasn't. He had me learn the things to do things the right way. I know it's a restaurant, but there are certain things that are just in terms of time management, he really taught me well on that, and I really stuck with that, right? Because when I left his shift, right, and he was a really nice guy, and he was actually leaving and moving on and pursuing his career, and he was a great guy. His name was Tim, right, and still remember him to this day. And I started working my other shifts, and I ended up becoming we call it a shift sitter, right? Quote unquote a manager at that point, but I'd run things a certain way, my way as well. And you meet different people, and you adjust to people's personality types. But there's great experience and knowledge that you gain from that, right? So that's why I think it's important that our youth actually get that experience, because even me learning, getting that diner job. When I came into when I started working in finance, when I didn't get the job right away, obviously, no one usually does unless you're really connected. I didn't get frustrated, right? I did get frustrated, but then I knew to a certain level, okay, well, you know what? I just have to work harder, right? So, that's kind of some of the advice I give out there to the youth. It's tough right now, but if you look around, like I said, there are, our economy is still going. There are jobs out there. It may not be the one you exactly want, but get your foot in, and then prove yourself, right? That's another thing that I think, I will say that talking to some of the youth today, that they have a different perspective. I used to try to get my foot in, learn the job, do it well, and then move up. Because even if you're overqualified, right, just getting in is the right thing to do at this point, especially in this type of economy. So anyways, I'm going to end this part walk, part sit, part discussion. But big thing is that we've got stagflation in this economy. Folks, try to get on the right side if you can. You never know, rates may end up going up again. Don't over leverage yourself. Leverage is good to a certain extent, but be careful with the real estate right now. Look at other assets. TSX is near all-time highs. You can use options and hedge yourself, things like that. So real estate, it's a lot harder to hedge yourself. If you can find any ways to do it, let me know. Besides putting banks, because the government sometimes plays funny tricks that way. But anyways, thanks for sitting and walking with me. If there's any questions you have, let me know. My name is Winston. I take walks. Appreciate you folks who've been subscribing. I know you folks like the concerts. More of those coming along. We enjoy those. Those are fun. But you know, I like to take my walks. They are getting a little bit harder, but I still want to do them. Got to keep the health up, and appreciate you folks walking with me. So have a wonderful summer day, and I'll thanks for walking with me, and I'll walk with you in the next video. Bye bye.